The ballroom glowed with golden lights, crystal chandeliers shimmering as if the stars themselves had descended to witness the wedding of Daniel Mercer, young, ambitious, adored, and the woman he believed would complete his perfect life. Guests in elegant suits and sparkling dresses filled the hall, their applause echoing as Daniel walked in with a proud smile plastered across his face. But behind him, unnoticed by most, walked a frail woman holding a small bouquet of white lilies. His mother, Margaret, soft-spoken, gentle, and the woman who had raised him alone after his father died when he was 7. She wore a simple lavender dress, one she'd sewn herself because she didn't want Daniel spending extra money on her. As Daniel basked in the lights and praise, she stood quietly, her eyes glistening, not from the lights, but from the memory of the boy she had once held, fed, loved, and sacrificed everything for. And then, it happened. An incident that would haunt everyone who had witnessed it. It started with a simple mistake. Margaret, with trembling hands, stepped toward her son to fix a loose thread on his sleeve. She smiled gently. "Danny, let me just." Before she could finish, Daniel jerked his arm away. Hard. His bride whispered something in his ear, something that made Daniel's jaw tighten. Maybe it was embarrassment. Maybe it was irritation. Maybe it was pride. But in that moment, all Daniel saw was a fragile reminder of the life he wanted to leave behind. "Not now, Mom. You always do this," he snapped. The room fell silent. Margaret blinked, stunned. Before she could step back, Daniel did the unthinkable, his hand struck her cheek in a sharp, unforgiving slap. Gasps exploded across the hall. Someone dropped a glass. His bride froze in horror. The band stopped mid-note. Margaret stumbled but didn't fall. She simply touched her cheek, eyes watering, not from pain, but from heartbreak. I'm sorry," she whispered. Sorry? For what? The question echoed silently in the minds of every witness. But Daniel didn't apologize. He didn't reach for her. He didn't step back from the terrible thing he had done. Instead, he straightened his tie and walked away, leaving the woman who had given him life standing alone in the brightest room she had ever entered. Word spread quickly. Guests who once admired Daniel now looked at him with disgust. His bride's parents whispered furiously. His best man avoided his eyes. Even his bride's face twisted into something uncertain, something like fear. Meanwhile, Margaret quietly slipped out of the hall and stood alone in the cold evening air. The night breeze stroked her cheek, cooling the sting, but nothing could heal the wound inside her. A waiter who had watched the entire incident approached her timidly. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Margaret smiled the same soft smile she had given Daniel for 28 years. "I raised him better than that," she whispered, her voice cracking, "but sometimes life teaches the lessons we couldn't." Inside the hall, the celebration collapsed. The band refused to play. Half the guests laughed. Daniel's bride pulled him aside. "If you could do that to your own mother," she whispered, "what would you do to me?" By the end of the night, she handed him back the ring. "I can't marry a man who doesn't understand love." Daniel's world shattered. But the consequences didn't stop there. Within weeks, his business partner backed out of a major deal. His mentor withdrew support. His friends stopped answering his calls. His reputation in the community plummeted. People didn't forget what he had done. They couldn't. Because cruelty, especially towards someone who has sacrificed everything, is unforgettable. Daniel lost money. He lost love. He lost respect. But most painfully, he lost the part of himself that made him human. Months passed. Winter arrived, white, quiet, cold. And Daniel, once surrounded by luxury and applause, now found himself living in a small rented room with peeling paint and a broken heater. He had pushed everyone away, including himself. One snowy evening, he walked past a community shelter. Through the window, he saw his mother. She was sorting donated coats, helping children zip winter jackets, smiling that same gentle smile the world didn't deserve but desperately needed. And she looked happy. Not wealthy. Not glamorous. But peaceful, more peaceful than she had been in years. For the first time in his life, Daniel felt something powerful grip his chest, not pride, not ambition, but regret. Deep, suffocating regret. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't move. He could only watch her. After several minutes, he forced himself to walk inside. The warmth hit him first. Then the smell of soup. Then his mother's soft voice as she laughed with a little girl. She turned and froze when she saw him. "Mom," his voice cracked. I'm sorry." A single tear slid down her cheek. Daniel fell to his knees. "I lost everything, Mom. Everything. And I know it's because I lost you first." The room went quiet. People watched. Children whispered. But Margaret didn't care. She walked toward her son, the same son who had struck her. The same son she had prayed for every night. And she wrapped her arms around him. "Danny," she whispered into his trembling shoulders, "you didn't lose me. You walked away. But love, real love, waits." He sobbed into her lap, and she stroked his hair the way she had when he was little. "We all fall," she said softly. "But the ones who rise again are those who learn compassion. Kindness. Humility." He nodded, tears soaking her dress. For the first time in years, Daniel felt the warmth of being truly human. From that day on, Daniel visited the shelter daily. He volunteered. He learned patience. He learned gratitude. He learned to listen. He rebuilt his life, not with money or connections, but with empathy. The community began to notice the change. Some forgave him. Some didn't. But the most important forgiveness had already been given to him, by the woman whose love had endured everything. His mother. In the end, Daniel discovered a truth far more valuable than success. Humanity isn't measured by achievements, but by the way we treat those who can never repay us. He slapped his mother and lost everything. But by choosing love, humility, and compassion, he found his way back to being human again.